Okay, we're ready. Okay, I'm going to call this meeting of the Public Works Committee to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Chaplin.
Here.
Desart. Here. Hart. Ozak.
Here.
Joinatori. Zay.
Here.
Okay. Today we have a monumental contract that we're going to be talking about, so looking forward to that. Right now I'm going to ask for approval of the minutes of the March 15th, 2022 meeting.
Second.
Okay, any comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Public comment. Do we have any public comment?
Nope.
None? Okay, thank you all. Okay, now budget transfers. Move for approval of budget transfer. Facilities management grounds. Budget transfer $20,000 is requested to cover the cost of encumbered waste services and unforeseen equipment repairs for grounds. Motion and a second. Any comments, changes, discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, I move to accept the payment of claims, Public Works and Facilities Management.
So moved. Second.
Okay, and any comments, discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, I move for approval of FMP 011922, recommendation for the approval of contract to Curry Motors Frankfurt for the purchase of one 2022 Ford Transit cargo high roof van and two 2022 Ford Transit cargo low roof vans, replacement vehicles for facilities management, for a total contract amount not to exceed $103,576. Pricing in compliance with Illinois Government Joint Purchasing Act.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
And any comments, discussion? Moved and member to start second. Okay.
I just wanted to ask, it says here replacement vehicles, is that true?
It is replacement.
It is
vehicles,
replacement
correct.
vehicles. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, I move for approval of FMP 012022, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Weatherproofing Technologies for roof restoration work at the JTK Administration Building for facilities management for the period April 13th, 2022 through November 30th, 2022, for a total contract amount not to exceed $924,259.15. Contract pursuant to Intergovernmental Cooperation Act. I have a second. Any comments, discussions? Mr. Say.
This is a typo, right? Because we're actually doing some kind of work here at the 421.
We are doing work at
Oh.
421.
Okay. Just thought maybe it was for the courthouse.
I just wanted to ask about this contract, but we just approved, I don't know, a couple months ago, 800,000 or so and change for the courthouse roof, right?
Right.
Was that for the courthouse? And this roof is for the 920.
This is 421, right?
I'm sorry, I was looking.
Right above us here.
Yeah, what is the plan? What is the plan? Are we re-roofing all the buildings on the
Well,
campus?
I mean, over time, what we do every year, we evaluate, and I will tell you, our roofs are probably in better shape now than they ever have been, and probably the past 20, 30 years. The technology we're using here is far cheaper than a roof replacement and gives you a far longer life. And the next time you replace it is actually far cheaper too, because there's obviously a certain level you have to do this. So the technology has never been there before. So we are in very good shape with roofs, but keep in mind, we have something 50, how many roofs do we have here? Different elevations.
From memory, it's like 500. Anytime there's a new change of roof, they count it as an
Yeah.
independent roof.
Oh.
Yeah, so all the elevations.
$1 million. This is not a roof replacement at all. It's
No. This is simply, think of it as a membrane. And so we go through, we do all the evaluation, they do any spot repairs, and they put a new membrane down. That membrane is very long lasting, more so than what the original roof was. So the technology, and this is, we've done this is our new, probably for the past 6 or 8 years we've been doing this, tremendous results.
And this also precludes having to do a full, homeowner's viewpoint tear off type.
Absolutely.
Tear off and
Absolutely.
reconstruction down to the basic studs.
And
So,
I can tell you, prior to probably 10 years ago, we had let roofs go so long that damage was happening in buildings because we didn't have the money to do roofs. That is not the case anymore. That's not the case. We are in we're caught up. I mean, there will always be roof repairs and stuff we have to do with, I mean, just like any home we have, but I can say we're not really behind.
Since we're on the subject of roofs, has there been any discussion about solar panels, putting solar panels up there?
Funny you should mention that. We actually met, Member Rutledge and staff met with a possible private donor for installing solar panels on the 421. Not the entire roof, obviously, that would be a fairly major one, but we're exploring that. And we're in conversations with ComEd to try to do kind of a partnership. It's in very early stages. But we do have solar over in Janine Carrico, and I know the highway department is considering it on their new building that they're in design on.
Thank you.
And on the roofs, we make them structurally capable that they can support it. For example, the addition of 503 animal services.
Good to know. Thank you.
I take it as a white membrane.
Yeah, it is, correct. Yep. Yeah, it really, it makes a big difference. We spend much more money cooling than we do heating. We want white.
And we can be seen from outer space. Okay, thank you very much. So any other contracts about this or any other discussion about this contract? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Next, I move for approval of FMP 012122, recommendation for the approval of the contract to Hill Mechanical Corporation for the replacement of air handling units 3, 4, and 5 at the Care Center for facilities management for the period April 13th, 2022 through July 30th, 2023 for a total contract amount not to exceed $702,134.40 per lowest responsible bid. CDBG funded. I have a second. Any discussion about this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have a bid renewal. I move for approval of FMP 011422, recommendation for the approval of a contract to A&P Grease Trappers Incorporated for sanitary grease trap and storm basin pumping, jetting, and cleaning as needed for the county campus for facilities management for the period April 14th, 2022 through April 13th, 2023 for a total contract amount not to exceed $124,060 per lowest responsible bid. First option to renew. Can I have a second? Any other comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, I move for approval of a contract increase, change order PWCO 0396A21, amendment to resolution PWCO 039621, issued to Superior Industrial Equipment Company due to needed additional funds for the nitro pump number 1 impeller replacement at the Woodridge Green Valley Treatment Facility for Public Works to increase the contract in the amount $35,268.77, taking the original contract amount of $50,000 and resulting in an amended contract total amount not to exceed $85,268.77, an increase of 70.54%. Second, and any other comments, discussions about this?
Sarah, is this what you were talking about in stormwater? About the,
No, that's
No.
completely separate item.
oh, okay. So why is there an increase of 70%?
So our nitro pump number 1 went down whenever we have a big piece of equipment. You don't know what's wrong with it until you take it out. You take it to the obviously the repair place and they break it down. And we found out we had to do a complete impeller replacement. And so it's kind of a hit and miss. I mean, we make estimates with what's wrong, but you really don't know until you break it down. And once you're broken down, you're kind of committed to that because I mean, it's in hundreds of pieces across the repair. So they're repairing it.
Gotcha.
And so we needed a new impeller.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next we move on to action items. I move for approval of 2022-35. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to Duquesne Equipment Corporation with the purchase of 1 Kubota utility vehicle for Public Works for a total contract amount not to exceed $18,678.22. Pricing in compliance with Government Joint Purchasing Act. Can I have a second? Any comments about this discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next, I move for approval of PWR 017422, A resolution, DuPage River Salt Creek Work Group membership dues for 2022-2025 in the total amount of $808,567 to be cost shared in the amount of $111,974 to be paid by Stormwater Management and $696,593 to be paid by Public Works. Public Works dues include a special condition fee for NPDES permits per IEPA EPA requirements. Any discussions about this? It is a 3-year contract. Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, I move for approval of PWP 012622, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Aldridge Electric Incorporated for the electrical infrastructure improvement project for the Woodridge and Nollwood wastewater treatment facilities for the period April 12, 2022 through June 30th, 2025 for Public Works for a contract total amount not to exceed $21,243,280.30 per lowest responsible bid. I have a second. Nick, do you want to say anything?
I would love to. So I will say first and foremost, this is probably one of the biggest projects since the construction of our treatment plants that we've brought through this committee. And besides the construction of our treatment plants, probably the most important. We've been planning this in our long-term project, capital projects for many years. It's been probably 2 years plus in design to get to this point. Basically what this is, our plants, time goes by, our plants are 40 plus years old now. And this is going to replace all of the electrical infrastructure in those plants, all the underground. I mean, we've reached a point, we've probably pressed a little bit too long. I know it's not that long ago. Bill is our head electrician. Some of our switchgear, we had to get off of secondhand eBay in order, because they don't even make some of the things we have anymore. They're very industrious with keeping things going, but there's only so long. And this is all of the other capital projects we've got planned for the plants, all the different upgrades all rely on this. So this is the backbone that everything functions off of. And this is going to be the most disruptive, but the most important project we've done at our plants. Obviously, it's not done. We've had our entire team involved in the design process. We had multiple bids on it. And I'm happy to say that we've acquired low interest loan financing from the EPA of 1.1%. That was part of, if you remember several years ago, we've taken the resolution to go for that EPA loan up to 40 million. This is part of that. So this was all planned many years ago at this point, and finally, this is the final fruition of getting this done. So we're excited to bring it forward at 21 million to Aldridge Electric.
Nick, do you think the 3-year period is realistic?
So I can tell you right now, we are normally before pandemic, the answer is absolutely. We are already aware of supply chain issues that we are going to experience during this. There's no doubt. There's things that are now we would have on the shelf that are now 6, 8, 10 months out. Some of the bigger pieces of equipment, we will do our best, but it has to be done, and we will adapt as we go. And during this entire thing, think about it, we are taking all of our electrical out, replacing it, but at the same time, we've got to keep all of our plants running, seamlessly while we're doing it. So it's going to be a balancing act.
Thank you so much to everybody who's been working on this. This is monumental and will certainly help our constituents who depend on us for their water and sewage treatment. So thank you so much. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, next I move for approval of DTP 0109, and thank you, Nick, sorry about that. Move for approval of, and thank you, staff. I move for approval of DTP 010922, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Float Construction Incorporated to furnish and deliver the Tuminous paving materials for the Western region as needed for the Division of Transportation, $25,000, and Facilities Management, $25,000 for the period April 14th, 2022 through March 31st, 2023, for a contract total not to exceed $50,000 per lowest responsible bid. And do I have a second?
Yes.
Yep, second, okay. Comments, questions about this item? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Next, I move for approval of DTP 010722. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to Ozinga Ready Mix Concrete Incorporated to furnish and deliver Portland cement concrete as needed for the Division of Transportation, $50,000, and Public Works, $30,000, and Facilities Management, $25,000 for the period of April 14th, 2022 through March 31st, 2023 for a contract total not to exceed $105,000 per lowest responsible bid. Yeah, second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. I now move for approval of DTP 010622. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to Vulcan Construction Materials LLC to furnish and deliver coarse and fine aggregates as needed for the Division of Transportation, $30,000, Public Works, $50,000, and Facilities Management, $25,000 for the period of April 14, 2022 through March 31st, 2023
Second.
for a contract total not to exceed $105,000 per lowest responsible bid. I have a second. Any discussions or questions? Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Next, I move for approval of DTP 011522. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to K5 Construction Corporation to furnish and deliver the Tuminous paving materials for the Southeast region as needed for the Division of Transportation, $115,000, and Public Works, $20,000 for the period April 14th, 2022 through March 31st, 2023 for a contract total amount not to exceed $135,000 per lowest responsible bid. Have a second? Any discussion or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any old business today? Hearing none. Any new business today?
We do have 2 items of new business.
Okay,
The first one we have had requests from various electeds to look at the possibility of adding some additional handicap accessible parking closer to the 421 building. We do have the required number, but they're in a surface parking lot and they're pretty far away. Staff was able to identify a very easy modification that would bring it here. And before we move forward, we wanted to kind of give you a little presentation. I will say that this is a project that we can do entirely in-house without even going out to bid on this one. City of Wheaton's fine with it, but I will turn it over to Jeff and Tim.
So we had, if you're familiar with the public parking lot on the south side of the building here, all the accessible parking is on the northern side of the lot there, but it's still quite a hike to get up to our main entrance. When this building was originally built, there was a big parking lot here, so it was much closer. When they reconfigured the ring road and everything, it kind of got shoved to the side. So yeah, I guess at senior staff, they raised some concerns about, everybody in this office watches everybody walk in every day. So just trying to figure out a way to cut that distance in half. Most of these spaces, this is kind of a typical, there's usually a couple cars there. It's not usually full, but it could be more convenient. So right now there's kind of a drop-off lane and a sea of sidewalk in front of the building there. So after sketching a little bit, we found we could fit 4 more spaces just to the side there. Our biggest concern was kind of the traffic coming around this bend. And so we're proposing a couple stop signs in front of the 2 sidewalks or crosswalks, just as a safety measure, which will also help the pedestrians that go between here and the annex all the time. So there's no new impervious. Yeah, as Nick mentioned, so there's not a lot of stormwater concern as long as we shed the drainage correctly. And there'll still be a drop-off lane here. The mail does use it because there is a mailbox in the front, but most of our FedEx deliveries and everything goes to our loading dock anyways. Security sometimes parks a car out there. They can still park along the road there too.
I can't see quite well. So are those straight in or?
Yeah, they're kind of straight in at the
Okay.
top of the curve there.
And there's 4 of them.
Correct.
So we're talking about really only marking the spaces, any
Well,
construction at all?
well, we do it. There is a curve here right now between the pavement. This is the sidewalk.
Okay.
So we will have to break into that sidewalk and do a new curve to go
Okay,
around
so,
it and ramp down for the accessibility.
but pretty minimal.
And we have the capabilities between Public Works facilities and DOT. We have the capabilities and the equipment to do this if Public Works Committee would like to move forward on it. It's a fairly easy construction.
That's a good idea. I think
What
it's
about
great.
safety concerns?
So when you say
Now you're on
safety
the curb there,
concerns,
Now you have a car that can go
into the building?
That, I mean, obviously, that is, that's part of it, but if you remember, you do have the improvements we're making and the main entrance there. I guess you can bring it, it's bringing a car a little bit closer, but is it that much of a difference from a car coming up? I guess that's a question we have to figure out.
Would stanchions be possible in front of it? Some kind of a concrete where you could move, if you're in a wheelchair, you could move on either side, but there's maybe 2 or 3 stanchions,
We can look at that.
planters.
Did you say that you're gonna build up and build a curb around that parking spot?
Yeah, there will be a curb at the end of each parking lot, but I mean, you could jump it potentially. But
But you really could jump
You
it
can
right
jump it
now.
right now too.
So, but some planters might be,
yeah, but we did talk to the fire department, if they needed extra access here for the front of the building, and they said, this was more than enough
Well,
space.
who's
for
in the
them.
offices right there that if they jumped it, they'd hit?
The recorder's
Recorder,
office.
recorder, that's fine, yeah.
Yeah.
oh, yeah, it's just the recorder.
Sarah got my joke. Joke.
I
As
think
long
it's
as
a-
Gwen's safe on the other side of the treasure drop sometimes.
Gwen is always safe. Gwen's the one who actually first brought it to my attention, to be honest with you.
And second and third.
Okay, so now we
No,
know the source.
I think like Chairwoman said, planters should take care of the.
or something, yeah.
Well, we can
It's
explore
really-
that. We don't really need an approval because we can move forward with what we have, but we don't want to move forward unless if we have, the go-ahead for Public Works Committee.
Well,
We're talking 4 spaces. It's not
all in
spaces.
favor, say aye to go ahead.
Aye, yes. You talk to security,
We will,
With
Yeah.
Keith.
okay, because you know when those spots are there. People are like, I'm just gonna run in for a second, I'm just gonna roll into there. And
Well, now you're
I
talking
just gotta
about
drop
revenue
off my-
production.
Yeah, they're talking about, yeah, 'cause they will get a
You
ticket.
can't issue tickets on the campus.
that's correct.
Oh, you can't.
But you can.
So,
Excuse me, a lot of people don't.
so knowing that, I
You say
probably
the
will just park
tower?
there if I can get my taxi.
Sit
You know,
down,
block
we're
you in
gonna
for
sit
half an
down.
hour. I'll just walk in with a limp. That's usually.
That works.
That's fine.
No, I think it's a great idea. Thank you. Let's, we are all in favor of going ahead. Correct?
All right,
Okay.
perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item we have is fairly timely. We received a request from a relative, a granddaughter, we think, from Red Grange requesting a jersey back. If you remember, this was a jersey that we sent off to be appraised, and it is a replica. I will say that Tim and I have been talking to Member Desart. She has done so much research on this, and she has found out things that we had no idea of the history about how things originated here and how things happen. I mean, there's a lot of neat history on this, I have to say, but from our standpoint, looking at the request out there, given the fact it's a replica jersey, given the fact that we are considering, maybe changing that exhibit out there, we see no reason why we would not return the jersey to the heir of, or to the relative of Red Grange. But we want to bring that forward because it's a little bit weird out there. We will say that, this is the only artifact we have besides the helmet down there, and this is the only jersey we have. I don't know what their considerations are, whether it's real, not real, but we will return the jersey that we have in our possession.
Sounds fine.
Fair
If
enough.
it's the appropriate thing to do.
I can't tell you the amount of, she's gone to what, historical museums, libraries.
National Library on the campus of
Yeah.
the college and the historical
Who,
museum.
who donated money originally for the exhibit down there, 10,000
Oh,
from,
the NFL donated $10,000 to the exhibit.
and Howard
And
Cosell.
Howard Cosell
1980.
did a shout out for the Heritage Museum on the night. It's really quite fascinating. Okay, I'll talk a little. So here's a letter to Howard Cosell that the NFL is making a presentation of its $10,000 gift to the DuPage Heritage Gallery in Wheaton, Illinois for National Red Grange Archives at 7:30 Monday night, just prior to the Bears Tampa game. I have it on good authority that you were helpful in encouraging this grant to be made. I express thanks for your support of this worthwhile project in the Wheaton Iceman's hometown. George Hallis prefers making the presentation in person, blah, 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 blah. So here's the letter. And then, Red Grange came to a fundraiser I took a picture of a ticket for that night. It was held on October 28th, 1978. And then there's an autographed program of the night's event in the Buzzwell Library as well. So it's really kind of a fascinating story. But this jersey has no value, as we found out. It contains polyester fiber, which wasn't even invented until the 1951 and used in the 70s. And Red Grange's career ended I think 1934, mid 1930s. And so it's got no value.
The one thing I would like to have on the record, though, is we did not take control of that exhibit nor the artifacts until 2 years ago. So as far as what was down there or not, we had no control over. It was a separate entity that controlled that exhibit and controlled the artifacts. When they disbanded 2 years ago and facilities took over, and the county is ultimately responsible, that's when we took control of the artifacts, was 2 years ago.
And the reason why Nick has to make that statement is because we found evidence that Red Grange himself donated more than 2,000 artifacts. Wow. And we don't have those artifacts. We don't know where they are and what happened to them. And my concern was that this woman, Susan Knudsen, requested an original. It says that received an original jersey, and we don't have the original jersey. But I do know the Red Grange exhibit was loaned to the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign in the fall of 1994. So I think we didn't get all the items back here. So if she's expecting, and if this woman is expecting, the granddaughter's expecting the original jersey, and we give her back this relic, this worthless thing, my thought was that she could sue us. But then I talked to Tim Harmon, he said, no, because we didn't even get the items until 2 years ago. So we have
Our
no
ownership
legal,
started 2 years ago.
our ownership started 2 years ago. So we have what we have, and we can
And
give back what we have.
When we
did.
give this back, we'll make sure that that's noted.
But
That this
some-
was,
But no, I don't think we should.
no?
Just here's your jersey.
This is the only jersey we have in our possession.
All
That's
right.
right.
Thank you for the fascinating conversation. I have to get to my next meeting.
So are any concerns with us sending back the
That's
jersey
fine.
as requested?
Well, my other concern is is this really the granddaughter of Geary? But you're gonna find that out, right?
We'll work with the state's attorney with that transfer.
Keep us posted. Okay.
'Cause I can say Red Grange is my grandson. I want the jersey, you know? I'm just saying, anybody could write and request anything.
But he's not, so, anything else? Okay, we're all good, thank you. I call this meeting adjourned, thank you. Okay.